It's freezing cold out here. I got to go out and get garbage bags. We're out of garbage bags. I got to stop working, get some. Just at Walgreens. It's just right up the street. Diversity in Comics is saying I'm a big Show Tunes fan. What the f? Oh. Okay, let's forget you saw any of that and move on to a 3-point perspective lesson. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. I am a comic book artist for mostly DC for 20 years. I have also worked for Marvel Comics briefly. And I'm here to teach you something that most people are very, very frightened of. And I'm going to do this slowly, okay? So I'm going to assume no prior knowledge. I'm going to assume that you don't know anything at this point, and I'm going to go very, very slowly and carefully. You guys use the comments section to ask me questions, ask me to clarify. Let me turn this fan off. Ask me whatever you need that you didn't quite understand or grasp. We're going to talk about 3-point perspective today. Now, I do have other lessons that are available on my channel. I think they're all under the playlist Anyone Can Draw. So far I've done 3 perspective lessons. How my nails look? Not that good. I've done 3 perspective lessons, and one of them was just based on understanding what the horizon line is. We're going to go over that again here because I think people need to understand and remember, be reminded of what the horizon line is and what it means. I did a 1-point perspective class instructing you on what one point perspective does, what its effects are, how to do it in a grid. And then just last week, I think I did a class on 2-point perspective and what that's used for, what it looks like, and how to do it. This time we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the 3rd point. We're going to do 3-point perspective, which to me is the second most dynamic form of perspective that you can use. Now, I always find 1-point perspective to be the most effective kind of perspective when actually drawing superheroes, for the most part, especially superheroes who are jumping to action, who are swinging their fists and punching someone, or who are flying straight at you or away from you. 1-point perspective is incredibly easy and incredibly valuable. 3-point perspective is a lot more show-offy. It's great for very impressive kind of skewed perspectives and points of view. It's a lot of fun to use. Let me see, I would use it for Batman, I think, a lot. Like Batman would use 3-point perspective because, you'd have so many interesting buildings around, all this great architecture. You'd want to look at Batman interacting with the architecture from different perspectives, from different points of view. Now, remember, wherever when you're composing a panel, you have to begin with the idea of trying to place the viewer in a particular location. The viewer is the horizon line. The viewer is the eye line. Okay, so let's go over that real quick. What is the horizon line? You cannot do perspective without first choosing a horizon line. Now, the horizon line very simply is, okay, this is common sense, but people kind of forget. The horizon line is simply where the sky, here's the moon right here. Hello, moon. No, good night, moon. Look, I'll put little pock marks in it. Little craters. All right, so the horizon line is where the sky meets the ground. So this is the ground right here. And you could put a house here, right here, like that. You could put lots of little houses. Okay, so this would be the horizon line. Now, the horizon line, coincidentally and amazingly, is always at the viewer's eye line. And I want you to, this isn't just a drawing situation. This isn't just a phenomenon that you will utilize and understand for your drawing. This is real life. You could go outside right now and you could find the horizon line, which again is where the Earth, okay, that's the ground and this is the sky. meets the sky, and you will notice that, oh my gosh, it's at my eye line. If you were to just hold a camera right in front of you and take a picture, it would probably look like this. And this is where your eye would be, okay? This is your eye line. Now, if you were to lay on your belly, amazingly, you know, the horizon line would sink to meet your eye line. And if you were to jump in the air, or climb up on a ladder, wherever you would be, if you were to climb a tree, so you'd be 15 feet off the ground, you'd be amazed. The horizon line will rise to meet your eye line, and what will happen as you get higher in the air is that you will see more ground below you, and you'll begin to see, the higher you get, the roofs of houses, and not just, you know, the house straight on like that. So that's the thing. The horizon line can be, you need to choose the horizon line based on where you want your viewer's eye line to be. Okay, where is the person who is witnessing this scene? Where is he standing? And by the way, he doesn't have to be standing, because this is comic book art. You could have him floating in midair somewhere. You can place the horizon line wherever you want, because we don't have to be standing on the ground. All right, so let's understand what three-point perspective is. Okay, and let's understand one thing here. This is a box. This is just a square. We know that from, you know, art class in, say, the first or second grade, that if you put another square behind it and then you do this to it, you basically have a cube in 3 dimensions. Okay, this would be 1-point perspective right here. If you just pulled all of these lines that recede somewhere into the background, draw them. If you were to extend them all the way out like this, they would all magically converge on 1 point. And that point would always be on a horizon line. This is the horizon line for this shape, okay? This is where my eye line is. And the reason why I know that is because I can see the underside of this cube. So if I'm looking up at this cube, I can see the bottom of it. Now, if I were above the cube, if we actually reverse this, okay, and said that this was the top instead, you know, that kind of optical illusion, and then we would draw the lines, say, this way, and the horizon line would be up here somewhere, it would be because I was up here and I could see the top of the cube because it was lower than my eye line. Do you understand? So, I'm asking you if you understand. You can't really answer me except in the comments section. So here's the rules for perspective. Here's how to break it down. Okay, so you have lines that are going vertically like this to make this cube shape. Okay, this is how to understand a grid. You've got lines that go vertically. You've got lines that go horizontally, and then you've got these lines that recede. Now, 1-point perspective is only making one set of these lines, one dimension, recede into a horizon line. Okay, only one. A 2-point perspective is actually saying, all right, I'm going to turn this cube to the side here, so I'm looking mostly at the corner. See what I'm doing? Now this is a cube in 2-point perspective. We've turned it to one side. These lines are going to recede off to a vanishing point that is going to be on the same horizon line as these two sets of lines. Of course, I did this very sloppy. This is 2-point perspective. This is a cube in 2-point perspective. Now, our vertical lines are still parallel. Look at that. Okay, we haven't affected these lines. We've only affected these lines right here. Okay, so we've affected our lines that recede, we've affected these horizontal lines, and we've changed these horizontal lines into also lines that recede. All right, that's 2-point perspective. Now for 3-point perspective, we're going to also make the lines that are normally vertical, we're going to choose to make these recede to a vanishing point as well. Okay, so we would take right here the center, and we might want to put a little point up here as high as we want. It really, these do not get attached to a horizon line. These don't. They just get attached to another vanishing point. All right, so, and we would do this. and draw this down, and suddenly we have a cube that is roughly in 3-point perspective. Okay, so now the cube would end up kind of looking a bit like this. Rough sketch. Got it? So that is the difference between 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. That looks terrible. I'll start getting serious now. All right, I will start drawing for real. So let's do 3-point perspective. I've got a page here that I've begun. I found this somewhere in a stack of paper. Look, this was when I was drawing Dark Knight, issue number 16, page 1. So I must have laid out these panels here and just thought, I'm going to do it differently. So I have this half laid out page, and we're going to use this as an example. All right. Now, a lot of people ask me, what do I do, Ethan, if my horizon line and vanishing points extend off the side of the page? It's a fine, practical question. 1 second. I'm going to take this piece of typing paper and I'm going to tape it to the side of this page. Okay, there's no reason to have to do guesswork. There's no reason to have to pin your paper down to the table and actually draw a vanishing point on the table. Just do this. Just take a piece of typing paper and then just tape it down to the side of the page. So, all right, let's see. We want to draw buildings in 3-point perspective. Let's say we're on the ground. Let's picture this scene together. We're on the ground and we're in an alleyway and we're looking up. Okay, and we see at the top of the building, or on the wall, like on the top of the wall, from where we're standing, we see Batman looking down at us. Okay, so we're on the ground. Now, what does that mean? That means that our horizon line is going to be low because we're looking up now. Okay, we're looking up. This is where our head is. Our head is literally right down here as we look up at Batman. So we know our vanishing, or our horizon line, okay, is very, very low. And I'm going to skew it a little bit because I think that's interesting. Now, you can do a horizon line that is perfectly horizontal and parallel with the shape of the panel, but that's kind of boring. So we want to just let's skew it this way. What do you think? Is that too crazy? I'm going to get a bigger ruler. This one broke, so I'll use it for smaller things. I have several of these. All right, so we're going to draw this horizon line here now. So all we really need that's going to show on the page is that, all right? But let's extend the horizon line out here, okay, into this page, and we're going to choose to put a vanishing point right there. I think that'll work. Now, because this vanishing point is so far away, okay, from the actual beginning of the page of the panel, I'm going to bring this vanishing point on the other side. Okay, if you remember 2-point perspective from our last lesson, remember my little kind of string theory about, you've got kind of the horizon line is almost like a little string that you're playing tug of war with. So, however long the distance that you want to make the vanishing points apart from each other, it's a good idea to kind of imagine that the further away one gets, the closer in the other one should come, okay? I mean, you can experiment with this and you'll find that if you keep both of them equidistant, you'll get, a kind of dead-on, kind of flatter result. But the more you sort of tug these back and forth, the more interesting your perspective will end up becoming. So let's just put a vanishing point here. So we've got our vanishing point here. We've got a vanishing point here. Now we need to have a third vanishing point. This also might call for another sheet of paper. Let me see here. I'm not sure if it will or not, but I'm going to put one here just to be on the safe side. I mean, again, the thing about vanishing points is the further away that I put this vanishing point, the more natural, of course. I mean, you can imagine that the further away the vanishing point is, the less kind of scalloped these lines are going to be. I mean, if I were to put a vanishing point right here, then of course it would be like that's crazy. Okay, that would be insane. It might look cool. I mean, it's good for some very, very extreme three-point perspective. I want to go a little bit more subtle than that. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to make sure that this line that I'm going to draw straight up here is perpendicular with my horizon line. See that? Perfect 90-degree angle. All right, so let's see here. Where do I want it to be? That's the other thing. My my line that goes straight up here and where you find your vanishing point, it can be anywhere. It can be anywhere along this axis here. So let's see. I'm going to put it here. No, I'm going to put it where my head is. That's where I'm going to put it. That should be cool. All right. One line. See what I'm doing? Straight up, and let's park it right there. How do you like that? So let me pull back a little bit and let's look at the overall thing that we've got going on here. We've got our horizon line, and we've got, okay, our third vanishing point clear up here. We've got a nice perpendicular line. We've created kind of an axis, haven't we, or a T shape. Now, this is because we're choosing to do this because we're going to be doing a three-point perspective shot where we are looking up. Okay, we're looking up at something. You can do the same thing reversing this. Let's flip this upside down and put this vanishing point and this line way down here, and then we'd be on top of a building looking down into the alleyway. We could reverse this shot and actually literally show the same thing from Batman's perspective. So Batman would be looking down at the alley back at us again. All right, isn't that interesting? So, you know, it's about worm's eye or bird's eye. And we are doing a worm's eye view here. We could do a bird's eye view next if you'd like. So let's scallop these lines out. Let's see what we've got. Let's see what we did here. And sometimes I'm surprised. I mean, sometimes I know exactly what I'm going for. Other times I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to let the perspective grid dictate how this panel is going to look. And I'm not exactly sure here. But we'll find out. In any case, it will be cool and interesting. All right, so this is 1 point perspective. We've got a nice array of scalloped lines leading back up to our third point right there. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to rest our ruler on this vanishing point, and we are going to begin to draw lines extending from the vanishing point out onto the paper to make 2 point perspective grid. Once again, you'll be able to hear family noises in the background there. That's Ava. All right. How's that? And then we're going to go ahead to our third point, and we're going to finish this off. We're going to finish this grid off. Ooh, this is interesting. This is very, very interesting indeed. Now already I'm seeing, I'm seeing the building, I'm seeing the wall, and I'm giving myself a choice here. How's that? That's a 3-point perspective grid, okay, with the horizon line being very low. Don't forget, the horizon line is the line at which the sky meets the earth. So literally, if we were to extend this out, this is the ground right here. This is the sky, okay? That's what this horizon line is. Now, of course, the building is going to be, you know, in the sky, more or less. It extends up past the, past your eye line and up into the sky. But if we were to actually take the building away, remove this building here, okay, we would actually see maybe other buildings that would be sitting on the ground way back here. Okay, let's just say that, you know, there was another city way off in the distance. This would be where the moon is, okay? So that's kind of what you need to understand about the horizon line. All right, so let's get in here and let's see what we can do with this. And there we go. And this is pretty much a finished kind of rough sketch for a panel. This is a good beginning thumbnail or sketch to work from. From here you would definitely refine and add detail, but you've got your drawing in place. And you'll notice our 3-point perspective grid at work. All of the lines that are going upwards here are receding to our vanishing point here. We've used our ruler to make sure of that, like so. So you see even these buildings in the background, these kind of distant buildings, all do point up to, with our vertical lines, they all recede and touch this point here. Even the windows, all of it, okay? All right, and then we know that our lines that are headed this way, okay, are all scalloping to meet our point right here, okay? So if we have a plane that's kind of headed that way, it is receding to meet this point. You can see, you can follow the pencil, even the lines in the windows, even this wall, this side of this building is receding to meet this point, and all of the buildings in the background as well, receding down, the faces of them. And if we were to draw windows in these buildings, if we could actually go ahead and put lines that scallop down to sort of make window shapes on these buildings if we wanted to, and we probably would in the finished piece, and they would all meet right here. And once again, we can see that the lines, if there was a wall headed that way, like this building here, all of these lines are recessing to meet right here at this line on our horizon, at this vanishing point on our horizon line, as you can see. And you can see when we sort of cut inwards here to make a kind of other plane, another wall kind of shape, it also meets this horizon or vanishing point on the horizon line, including all these little rough lines that I added to kind of shade it, to give it texture, to show the shadow. I mean, if this building is all shadowed here in black, technically these would be very, very dark here. This plane would be shadowed. And we've got Batman in silhouette up here looking down. So we've got our Joker, who is right on the horizon line. Now look, the way that we position the Joker, we're standing right next to him. In fact, he may be holding us hostage. Look where we are. Our eye line is right here. Okay, this is our head. If we were actually in the panel, we would be right here, and he might be holding us hostage. Like, come and get him, Batman. That's the perspective that I've placed us in by putting this horizon line down low, right where his head is. Okay, so he's standing on the ground. We are also standing on the ground right next to him. We're looking up at Batman. Alrighty, and again, if we took all this away, all these buildings away, okay, if we extended this building down, 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 like so, even still, we would see in the background, this would be, if this was the only building in town, this would be all dirt, land, dun, 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 dun. And then maybe in the background, also these buildings would be receding up to our third point, but these would be little buildings in the distance. This would be all ground, and right here would be the sky. Okay. I hope that makes some sense to you. You know, the thing about YouTube and this channel is that I do want to hear back from you. I want to hear from you in the comments section. If you have questions, you can ask them. I think we should do another video where we reverse this just to make sure that it's clear, and do maybe Batman's point of view. And maybe I'll go ahead and I'll clean up this panel here and then draw Batman looking down at us with the Joker being held hostage next time, which is basically this, but in reverse. So we will try to do that. Again, please like this video, please leave comments, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and also down in the description I'm going to leave a link to my YouTube channel, which has all kinds of my signed comic books for sale and artwork. I'm also going to offer a new thing, these blank metal cards here. These are trading cards, sketch cards. So you will be able to buy one of these and request a little head sketch doodle on it. I'm going to put those up today. And, you know, I don't know, maybe you want a little sketch, I'll send it to you. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.